All right. So you're here because you want the breakdown on this whole Pakistan-Afghanistan thing, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, big story.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to be looking at excerpts from this piece called Pasted Text.
Okay.
And it's pretty wild, honestly. So we're going to do a deep dive on it today.
Sounds good.
And really try to unpack, the big question, like, could these two nations actually go to war?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a tense situation, but I think it's important to remember that, there's a long history.
Oh, for sure.
Between these two countries, both conflict and cooperation,
Yeah, absolutely.
Complicated.
It's not happening in some bubble. Right. It's a very real situation. So let's get into it. I think the most recent thing everyone's talking about is these airstrikes in Afghanistan's Paktika province.
Right.
Back in December.
In December, yeah.
And our source highlights these civilian casualties. There were civilian casualties, and the Afghan Taliban, obviously, is condemning it strongly.
Right. And, those airstrikes are really just the latest escalation in a conflict that's been going on for years now.
Right.
And Pakistan says that these strikes were aimed at the Pakistani Taliban, the TTP, who they say are using Afghan territory as a base.
To attack them.
To launch attacks, inside Pakistan.
Right. So, what evidence, though, does Pakistan even have to back that up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about these accusations about harboring TTP militants?
Well, they point to, a surge in attacks within Pakistan's borders.
Right.
Since the TTP ended its ceasefire with Islamabad back in November 2022.
Wow.
So that's been a while.
Yeah.
And, they're saying that the Afghan Taliban isn't doing enough to stop these attacks.
Right.
They're essentially allowing the TTP to operate freely. But the Afghan Taliban completely denies this, of course.
Of course.
And calls the airstrikes a violation of their sovereignty.
It's a very he said, she said situation.
Right.
With very high stakes.
Yeah. So it gets even more interesting, I think, when you look at the TTP itself.
Okay.
Because they're not like this unified group.
Right.
There are a bunch of different factions
wow.
with different motivations and goals.
So some are probably more chill than others.
Some might be willing to talk to Pakistan.
Right.
Others are, ready to fight.
Yeah.
So it's hard to predict what they're going to do or how to even find a solution,
It's like even if
Right.
Pakistan and the Afghan Taliban chilled out,
right.
this TTP problem could still be a thing.
Yeah, it's like a fire with multiple starting points.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You're always putting out fires.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to remember that both sides, despite all this stuff in the news, they both know that a full-blown war would be really bad. Like, just the economic fallout would be crazy.
Yeah.
Not to mention the refugee crisis.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
unimaginable, really.
So if everyone knows that,
Right.
why is everyone so worried about war?
Yeah, why does it feel like...
Well, because things are so tense.
Yeah.
It's like any little mistake,
Any
miscommunication could blow everything up.
Yeah, like just set it all off.
Exactly.
Yeah. So where do things stand with diplomacy right now?
Right.
I mean, our source said they both want to talk, but
they say they want to talk.
But is that enough?
But they have to actually do something.
Move it.
Yeah, prove it. And that's where I think other countries can really step in.
So our source mentioned international actors.
Yeah.
What could they actually do?
Well, they can be like the middleman.
Yeah.
Help them communicate.
Right.
Make sure everyone keeps their promises if they make a deal.
Right.
Maybe even offer some money.
Yeah.
Help them cooperate. It's like, imagine two people fighting on a ledge.
Oh, wow.
Someone needs to come and pull them back, give them a way out.
Yeah.
But it only works if they both want help.
Right. They both have to be willing to come in off that ledge.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for anyone listening, it's clear that this situation is... It's not just about airstrikes.
It's complicated. There's so much
history.
Angry words. It's way more complex than that.
Different groups within groups, geopolitics.
Yeah, it's a whole web of stuff.
The whole region could fall apart.
And I think the main point is that war is probably not going to happen, but it could.
It could happen.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
So, pay attention.
Yeah.
When you see a headline about Pakistan and Afghanistan, don't just skim it.
Yeah.
Really
think about it.
Why everyone's doing what they're doing.
Right.
What could go wrong? Yeah. What are the unintended consequences?
It's important.
Yeah. And, stick to those credible news sources.
Right.
They're going to be your best bet for figuring all this out.
Absolutely.
So stay informed, stay curious, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
See you then.
Oh,
Okay.
Bye.